At Designer Shoe Warehouse, we believe that shoes are an important part of, well, everything.
From first steps to first dates, from all-nighters to all-time personal bests.
From building pillow forts to building a life.
For all the big and small moments that make up your whole world, DSW is there. And we've got just the shoes. Find a shoe for every you from brands you love at brag-worthy prices at your DSW store or DSW.com.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
And welcome to the Kulturecast. I'm Chris Stachiw.
And I'm Sean Liang.
Oh, fuck, we're going with
I know,
this?
I felt your somberness. I went
Oh, yes, I'm very sad.
for the late Coriolanus.
Yes, for the late Coriolanus. And we're going to be talking about the second film of Shakespeare Month, the 2011 adaptation directed by Ralph Fiennes of Coriolanus. But before we get to that film, Sean, have you been watching anything this week?
Oh, man. Have I, other than like clips of America's Got Talent, which I'm totally invested in right now because it's been a while. Not really. How about you?
No, nothing really. I started watching Hamlet for next week. It is 4 hours long, so
You got to take
that is not a single sitting film.
You got to take it in chunks.
Yeah, it is not a single sitting film for sure. Other than that, nothing really. Just been watching some Shakespearean films, listening to people talk in very proper Elizabethan English as opposed to not Elizabethan English in like every other film.
Yeah.
It catches me off guard so much, these Shakespearean films. Because, and when we get to Coriolanus, we'll talk about this, sometimes the Elizabethan English just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I mean, especially, and it's not supposed to be. Like, it's like written poetically for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So do we want to talk about, let's just talk about Coriolanus.
Let's do it.
Directed in 2011, like I mentioned, by Ralph Fiennes. Stars Ralph Fiennes, Gerard Butler, Brian Cox, Vanessa Redgrave, and Jessica Chastain. The IMDb synopsis for the film is: a banished hero of Rome allies with a sworn enemy to take his revenge on the city.
Is Caius Martius, Coriolanus.
If ever again I meet him, he's mine, or I am his.
To our noble consul,
Coriolanus.
Heavens bless my lord and husband.
You are a traitor to the people.
Right, traitor. Call me traitor.
Martius is worthy of death!
I will fight against my country.
And then men die. You are not my son.
Coriolanus has grown from man to dragon. Make you a sword of me! Sweet as my revenge.
Sean, what's your quick take on the film?
This is one of the Shakespeare plays that I know little about, so it was fun to watch. Because I had a lot of assumptions immediately watching it, and I thought it was really relevant to sort of like the political atmosphere that we're in right now in America. It's kind of relevant to watch right now, so I thought it was very. I liked it. It was pretty raw and uncomfortable to watch for a lot of good reasons.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. This is the first time I'd seen it, and this is the first I'd ever heard of the play Coriolanus. I had no prior exposure to it. And mind you, a lot of my exposure to Shakespeare was in high school. I mean, they force-fed Shakespeare down our throat, which I honestly think does not do Shakespeare any,
Not really. You can't really.
Yeah.
You gotta. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to go read Shakespeare on your own. Force feeding it down students' throats is the worst thing you can do because it just makes people hate Shakespeare.
Exactly. That's exactly the truth. I did the same thing in high school, but I didn't really get anything out of it until I was in like the Complete Works Abridged, which is like a parody, but like you're involved, you're interested.
Yeah, forcing students to understand Shakespeare and asking them to analyze every soliloquy and tell the meaning of every soliloquy, especially in Hamlet, which is where a lot of that was done, is not the right way to go about teaching Shakespeare.
Yeah, at least definitely not get you interested in Shakespeare.
Yeah, it just makes you angry towards Shakespeare. I mean, I know I have friends who hate The Great Gatsby because of the way it was taught in high school. And I completely understand.
Totally fair.
Yeah. So it really doesn't do the source material any service by forcing it down people's throats and expecting them to just like it.
Yeah, like standardizing it for
right. Well, and that being said, I had never had any exposure to Coriolanus prior to watching the film. And I thought the film was good. I think that there are a couple stylistic choices that I don't agree with per se. And we'll get to that when we talk about the use of the language in the film. But it's actually really nice to see Gerard Butler taken seriously as an actor, as opposed to guy who stars in second-rate action movies.
Yeah.
Because that's what I know him as more than anything else. Like Olympus Has Fallen, Gods of Egypt, London Has Fallen, like shit like that. Shit's just like, or The Bounty Hunter, like shit like that, where it's not a good movie.
Yeah, exactly. It's just meant to be like a popcorn.
Right, and you watch this movie and you realize that this guy has some like legit acting chops.
Yeah. I agree. It's fun to watch, and he is good in this.
Yeah, he's fantastic, and it's weird to see him being given an actual role to play, as opposed to a shirtless dude screaming in 300.
Right.
So I think that was kind of the biggest takeaway that I had, because everybody knows Ralph Fiennes is a good actor. I don't think there's a question in that.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Brian Cox is a good actor. Everybody knows Vanessa Redgrave is a good actor. Everybody knows Jessica Chastain is a good actor.
Yeah.
But when I think of Gerard Butler, I don't think of a talented Shakespearean quality actor. I think of the guy who's in London Has Fallen.
Exactly.
So seeing him in this is a real opposite Ralph Fiennes. I mean, they play off of one another in the later half of the film.
Exactly. And when he doesn't even fight that, it's for being an action star, he doesn't even really, he gets like one good fight scene and the rest is a very complex character.
Yeah. And I think that that's really a testament to Ralph Fiennes. His direction in the film is he knows what he's doing and what he expects of people, and he also subverts expectations with actors like Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
But this is Shakespeare, and this is a drama and a tragedy. A large portion of
definitely the ones that we remember.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
The most.
Right. The one, it's probably closer to half and half, but the ones that I always think of and the ones that I was taught in school are the tragedies.
Yeah.
So my kind of big issue with this film, and it's partially the setting of the film. I mean, this is supposed to take place in modern Rome, like modern day Rome. My problem with this film is the fact that they allowed the traditional Elizabethan English to carry over into the modern setting.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting too. I agree.
It just doesn't work.
Exactly. There's something that we were taught in a Shakespeare class that in college. For me, it was like we were taught that like the language is written that way for a reason. Like it's meant poetically. It's not supposed to sound colloquial. It's not supposed to sound normal. So it's kind of interesting that they made like kind of a half decision to go modern and yet keep it a 1 foot back in the. It's a weird juxtaposition. I kind of thought it was weird too.
I mean, for me, it just doesn't make sense as a stylistic choice.
Yeah.
Why would you go out of your way to update the visuals yet keep the Elizabethan English the same?
Right. It's only like, I don't know. I will say that like if you were to translate that, you would lose so much in the way that it's written. I don't know. It's just there's a lot in the words. I mean, that's the way it's. I mean, on purpose. But I don't know. What do you think? I mean, I understand losing kind of the majestic quality of the words and the richness of the words. I completely understand that you would lose that if they take away the Elizabethan English, but it just doesn't make sense in the scope and scale and setting of this film. Yeah, it's kind of.
It seems completely out of left field.
It is. It totally forces you to suspend your disbelief. I totally see like your point 100%. I just feel like if you just like even in like when he walks out in like the village with all the people and he walks among the people and he walks up to this old lady and she says something along the lines of you are noble, but she says you are noble, you are not noble. She says those words and it's so weird. No one speaks like that, but like that stuck out to me so much this time, I think, because in its simplicity and the way it is, it says so much more than a direct normal sentence. I don't know. It's so I feel so, I guess, at odds about sacrificing that language. Oh man, I don't know.
I mean, I get it. I understand the use of language and it does, keeping to Shakespeare's original language is good for, keeping with source material.
Yeah.
But I just don't see the point if you're going to update everything else.
Yeah, I know. I guess like my point is if you're going to do a Shakespeare, you got to do the Shakespeare. But if you're going to update it, then make it an adaptation rather, and call it something else.
Well, yeah, and it uses the title of the play as the title of the film.
Yeah.
It doesn't try to change. It doesn't, there are some films out there, some films we'll be watching later this month, like Scotland, PA, which is a modernized version of Macbeth.
Yeah.
That it's a retelling of the Macbeth story, but it is set in the 1970s in a fast food restaurant.
Yeah, yeah.
And it foregoes a lot of the Elizabethan English.
See, but that's what I mean. That's one thing about Shakespeare that we do a lot in theater too, but in movies, like there's for Othello. It was actually, but it takes place with Josh Hartnett. It's like a basketball team, like a basketball star. And then there's all kinds, like it happened. They do it in theater too. People love to take Shakespeare and use it as this example of like timeless storytelling. You know what I mean? And it's like, we get frustrated in theater because we see it all the time. Like we had a professor specifically, and I'm not saying anything, but like we had someone that we'd always make fun of because it's almost like you try to force these themes onto these stories. And it's like you kind of have to make a decision. Like, are you doing this story or are you taking something out of something that you like about it and making a new story? You know, and making a new story that's modern. It's like, I don't know. It's something that I personally have like this not pet peeve, but like personal feelings towards, I guess.
What, keeping the source material?
Well, about like I guess knowing why you're doing it in the first place. You know what I mean? Like, what is it? I mean, this obviously is trying to say something. I mean, watching this movie, I instantly have images of like American troops stationed in other countries, and that feeling of invasion and about political agendas. That is so like they're very much commenting on that and using the source material to tell that story. But it's not the same story, exactly. So it's like there's like always that payoff. Like it's like what are you making this for? Why call it Coriolanus and not something else?
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. It's one of those things where it was clearly, I feel like maybe the reason Ralph Fiennes decided to use the Shakespearean text might be it just sounds better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally.
It sounds better than rewriting the lines.
Exactly. Well, and also, I mean, it gives it that Shakespeare staple. And
right.
If you want to use it, like it just gives it that sort of like polish that you know what I mean?
Yeah, if you don't include that in your film, it does kind of lose some of the richness that is there with Shakespeare's language.
Yeah.
What did you think of the performances in the film, though? Since we've been focusing solely on the use of the language.
Yeah, seriously. Okay. Well, I really liked the performances a lot. Like you said, we know Ralph Fiennes is amazing. But it was really fun to watch. I loved the scene specifically where like he blows up on live TV, and it's just such an amazing speech that it's so good. I thought he was great, but I thought they all were.
His contempt for the masses scene.
Yeah, it's so great. I banish you.
See, and that's, like you mentioned, that's kind of the big takeaway from this film for me is, Ralph Fiennes is a great actor.
Oh, yeah.
And I almost would have rather seen him cast Gerard Butler as Coriolanus.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
And himself in the Tullus Aufidius role, just because I am convinced that Gerard Butler is like a legit fantastic actor, and seeing a film like this kind of confirms that a little bit.
Yeah.
But I would have liked to have seen more of Gerard Butler, because like I said, we know that Ralph Fiennes is such a damn good actor.
Right.
There's no question of that. So that
would have been a fun stretch.
Yeah, but his performance, I mean, is great. He's clearly relishing the chance to perform Shakespeare on film in his own directed film, in his own big budget film.
Yeah.
He's clearly enjoying it, maybe a little too much.
Yeah, man.
And anytime he's on screen, he just is chewing the scenery, and it's a really well done performance, and it doesn't go over the top in a way that I thought it would.
Yeah.
Because I've seen some of the other Shakespearean adaptations, and they just go completely off the reservation.
Yeah.
with what they're going for with the main character and the way that they adapt the Shakespearean kind of text into film. And a lot of the quality of the Shakespearean work is the way that it's delivered by the actor who portrays them. And sometimes the actors don't rein it in, and they just kind of go nuts with it. And that's fine, but I mean, Ralph Fiennes, especially in the scene where he's showing his contempt for the masses, I think that might be one of the best scenes in the film.
Yeah.
And the whole kind of him being banished, I really think that that's the standout scene in the film for me.
Yeah.
What about you?
I that's easily one of my favorites. Because after that, it's like once he's banished, I mean, up until then, I like it kind of goes downhill for me. Not downhill, but it's kind of like, it kind of fizzles out a little bit.
Yeah, the later half of Coriolanus, from what I was reading about the play itself and clearly in the film, it has a lot of pacing problems.
Yeah.
And it wraps up super quickly.
Oh, yeah. After that.
It wraps up way too neatly, and the film doesn't do a particularly good job of wrapping up either.
Yeah. And it's like, that's what they call one of the problem plays, because it does that. It's like, there is that weird fizzle out, but after that long scene with his mother and wife and son, which I did really enjoy that. It was because they're really good too.
Yeah, but I mean, the character motivation, I didn't walk away with it feeling.
No, I agree. Like all of a sudden he's signing a treaty and then it's basically over. I thought that was
right. And you have his son saying, I'll wait in the woods and I'll come find you after I'm grown up.
Yeah.
It was believable, but him just bending to their will and signing the peace treaty because he doesn't want them to die. I feel like it kind of comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, and it
doesn't feel like this is the character we've seen grow throughout the 2 hours of the play.
Right, he goes right back to some. Yeah, it's kind of a throwaway, but that's kind of why I like the final scene so much. I think that was the point I was trying to get to, is that like I really love that final scene because it's so sudden and it's such a fallback for him as a character, and it's frustrating. And you see like the most interesting thing to me about it is the love, or like the relationship between Aufidius and Coriolanus, that last minute, the strange respect and hatred that they have. And like, it's the most, I love that. I mean, that's I thought that was really interesting. And that
boy,
yeah, boy, and that final
boy.
And then just cut them to pieces. Like, I swear, I've seen a lot of like gory movies like with knife scenes, but like this one in particular made me afraid of like ever being in a knife fight.
Well, because the ending of Coriolanus, obviously, as with other tragedies, in any of Shakespearean tragedies, the main character is normally the one who dies.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And Coriolanus, after all of his troubles of getting the Volsci and the Romans to come to a peace treaty, not a surrender, mind you, a peace treaty. Gerard Butler sees it as, a sign of weakness that he more or less bent the knee to his mother and wife. And I guess it's like a demasculinization of his character.
Yeah.
Coriolanus. I guess, I mean, if you really want to read into it.
Right. That's how I kind of interpret. I mean, it's also, because you see when he comes up to him and he kind of devotes himself as his slave.
He's like, I still like, travel under you and fight for you, like you are still you're still my master, more or less.
Right.
And he's like, nope, you bent the knee to your wife and mother,
yeah,
and I feel like the ending just comes out of nowhere.
It really does, because I don't know, it does, I think,
and it really wraps up way too easily.
Yeah. I mean, the way it's cut together also, like we go from literally right before the treaty is signed, there's a shot of Gerard Butler almost giving him, because what happens right before they cut to that scene is Coriolanus asks Aufidius what he should do. He basically asks, he says, do you see what's happening? Like what they're asking of me. He says, I'm crying, essentially. Yeah, I'm crying tears or sweat of compassion. And he like asks him, and then we cut to Aufidius, and he gives him like a nod, and then there's
right, and I didn't understand.
Right, and then he's angry about it. It's weird. I get it as a character, but the way they showed that was weird. It just felt so sudden and abrupt and out of nowhere.
No, it totally was. It makes no sense to me why Gerard Butler's Aufidius says, okay, well, yeah, let's peace treaty,
right.
Sure.
And then change his mind.
Yeah, and then kills Coriolanus.
Yeah, I get that from the character's perspective from the first time they meet. And he says, like, I've never, even when the day I married my wife, I'm even happier now. I'm even, like, I'm filled with more joy now than I ever have been before. And, like, so I get how that makes sense at the end, but the way they show it didn't make sense. Like, I don't know. Does that make, am I being clear?
No, it totally makes sense. They make Ray finds Coriolanus, makes his promise to Gerard Butler when he comes to kneel before him after being in the wilderness for an undetermined amount of time, and he says, I want to destroy the city that banished me.
Yeah.
And then I guess that promise is broken at the end, and that's why Gerard Butler's like, just kill him.
Yeah. But
it doesn't work with the previous scene.
Yeah, it totally doesn't.
The film wraps up in like a span of like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's super quick. It wraps up way too quickly, and I think that's one of the biggest problems I have with the film, other than the use of the Elizabethan English, is the ending it's too fast.
It's abrupt, yeah.
Yeah, it's really abrupt.
Yeah.
The other problem I have, and this kind of goes along with the Elizabethan English, is the use of the names directly from the play because they sound really goofy. They sound goofy when they're set in modern time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's...
Caius Martius, Ray Fiennes' character, that's his name, Caius Martius.
Yeah.
And it just sounds so strange when you're looking at what is essentially like guerrilla warfare versus the state.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a little... It just, again, kind of like the Elizabethan English, just doesn't gel.
Yeah. This to me should have... Okay, this is the last thing I'm going to say. This to me, it just should have been its own thing. You know what I mean? Like, I really agree. I think that it could have been a great film if they had strayed away a little bit and sort of given the ending a little bit more thought, in the sense that, like, I understand that the play wraps up sort of in a similar way, but, like, tell this story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sticking to the source material kind of hurt the film.
Yeah, I agree.
It put the film kind of at a disadvantage automatically because, like any other thing that sticks too closely to the source material, you may end up, it sticks close to the source material, but it also kind of does its own thing a little bit.
Yeah.
So due to the way the performances are kind of framed and how they are presented, you may feel differently for a character in film than you do on paper.
Absolutely.
And the film does a terrible job of wrapping up the story of these characters in a way that works, that makes sense, and doesn't feel extremely rushed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a bummer because the film for an hour and a half is absolutely a joy to watch.
Yeah.
It's got great set design, great performances, a lot of a sense of its own sense of style.
Yeah. And it builds such great tension. And that's what's, I guess, the most disappointing is it just kind of peters out.
Yeah. It falls apart in the last 20 minutes. Yeah. It just completely falls apart. Yeah. I would say that the film kind of falls apart, and you mentioned this a little bit. The film kind of falls apart when Coriolanus is banished.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it really just... The film loses steam.
Yeah, especially because he never gets that vengeance.
There's nothing that... Yeah, nothing ever happens.
Yeah.
It's like a story that...
It's just sad after that.
It'd be like on Game of Thrones if the character that came back last season, Jon Snow, it'd be like if he never came back to life.
Right.
It just like, and the story ended there for him.
Yeah.
And you're just like, is that's it?
That's all we get. We've invested.
That's how this character that you're following, that the film is named after and the play is named after, that's how it ends.
Exactly.
And I'm not upset that he dies. I'm just disappointed at the way the play and the film handles the kind of the conclusion of his character's journey.
Yeah. It's kind of not much of a payoff. You don't get...
There's no payoff.
Yeah.
And I think that is my ultimate takeaway from this film is there's a reason that, like you said, this is one of Shakespeare's problematic plays.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I want to go and read the play. I'm assuming that the film is a pretty close adaptation.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I have any interest in going and reading the play if it has these same problems.
Yeah, no, at heart, it has such a great, powerful message. There's just a lot of really great, strong themes. But I think overall, the way it's told, it just doesn't. It's just not satisfying.
No, it's not. So skip it or watch it. Best performance.
It's tough. I really want to say watch it, but I'd say it's worth a watch this year. I think it's worth a watch also for Gerard Butler, because I realized that he hasn't been in a lot of roles that are worthy of being taken seriously. And this is definitely one of them. And I think that the relationship that they have is really amazing. It's just, the ending, man.
The ending kind of sours the entire film.
It really does. It's such a good build, though. It's so hard to tell if it's worth it after that. I'm going to say watch it. Why not? It didn't feel long, even though I was disappointed.
It's a 2-hour film. It's 2 hours and 4 minutes. So it's on top of that, it is a pretty long.
It is pretty long. I don't think it felt long when I watched it. I did feel like I was waiting for something. I didn't get it. But I'll say watch it. I'll say that begrudgingly. And best performance for me, I really, how I love the ladies. I really loved... what's her name? Vanessa Redgrave. I really loved her. But I have to go with Ray Fiennes because I don't think I've ever seen him really do anything before.
Other than Harry Potter,
right?
Other than Harry Potter,
I've never seen him do I've never seen him in a worthy role.
Though he's had a lot.
That's true.
So yeah, he's had more than a couple. I'm going to say watch it. Again, I agree with a lot of what you're saying in regards to the way that the film wraps up. It wraps up way too neatly and way too quickly. I think I'm a little bit more begrudgingly than you are saying watch it. Yeah. It to me just, it wraps up and I was just kind of like, really? That's it?
Yeah.
So that's kind of my takeaway. Maybe there are different adaptations of it that are better. I know that in 2013 there was another adaptation that had Tom Hiddleston as Coriolanus. So I may end up watching that just to see the quality of other adaptations. But the set design and the quality of this one is high. I just think the story itself is not.
Yeah, if you know that he never takes down Rome and there's no like blood and guts at the end, then it's really disappointing.
There is no falling action.
It's a personal tragedy that kind of happens. And I think that is kind of why it doesn't feel, big.
And for best performance, I have to go with Gerard Butler. Again, I've never seen him in anything that I would say is worthy of his apparent abilities as an actor, because he clearly has some acting chops that are not showcased quite nearly enough. Yeah. Because, like I said, he's mostly in terrible rom-coms with Katherine Heigl or terrible rom-coms with Jennifer Aniston. So his career is not one that I would sit and think, well, he's a great actor. But I mean, looking at this film and the way he presents himself as a Shakespearean actor in this film is very believable.
Yeah.
So what do you think the film has on Rotten Tomatoes?
I'm going to guess it has like a 53%.
93%.
Wow, really?
Visceral and visually striking, Ralph Fiennes' Coriolanus proves Shakespeare can still be both electrifying and relevant in a modern context.
Interesting.
However, the audience score is a 58%.
Okay, I think maybe that makes sense.
I would like to believe that the critics are probably giving it a lot more based on just the film and not maybe its closeness to the source material, if that makes sense.
Right. Which I can understand that.
Yeah, as a film, it's a good film.
It really is. It's especially visually and that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, before I talk about next week's Kulturecast, Sean, anything you want to plug?
Not yet. But as always, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm Seanifer, and on Facebook, I'm Sean Liang.
And you can, as always, follow me on Twitter at CultureStash, and you can follow CultureShock.com, our parent website, at CultureShocked. If you like what you're listening to now, head on over to CultureShocked.com/Kulturecast to check out 100+ episodes of the Kulturecast. We're also on iTunes and all podcast apps. You can also check out my guest appearance on the Projection Booth podcast, where I sit down and talk Celine and Julie Go Boating with Mike White and Heather Drain. And also I'll be on an upcoming episode where I sit down and talk about the zombie voodoo film Sugar Hill with Mike White and Heather Drain. Big thanks, as always, to Wovoka for providing the intro-outro music for the podcast. That song you're hearing is Lament off of their self-titled first album. And if you want to kick a couple dollars our way so we can help to keep the lights on at 0069 Culture Shock Tower, head on over to patreon.com/culture_shocked and kick a couple dollars our way. Every little bit helps. This coming Monday, we're going to be talking about the epic adaptation of Hamlet, done by none other than Mr. Shakespeare himself, Kenneth Branagh, from 1996. It is a 4-hour epic. And then on Thursday, we'll be joined by film critic Ben Hanig as we talk about the reimagining of Macbeth, known as Scotland, PA. So make sure to check those out.